Hey, good morning. It is a Tuesday morning, and it just hit me last night that I did not do a daily devotion yesterday, and I do apologize about that for those that like to get this encouraging word in the morning. But here we are, and I have one for you that the Lord led me to. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 14 says this: David was dancing with all his might before the Lord, wearing a linen ephod. He and the whole house of Israel were bringing up the ark of the Lord's covenant with shouts and the sound of the ram's horn. I talk with a lot of folks about, do they go to church? And some will say, yeah, I go to church. I go to a wonderful church. Love the people, love the pastor, everything about my church. I absolutely love being there. In those cases, hey, praise the Lord. Then there are times I'll talk to people and I'll ask them, do you go to church? Yeah, I do, but it just seems a little stagnant, maybe a little on the dead side of things. And that's a bit disappointing. And then there are others that I'll talk to, and they don't go to church at all because they feel as though there's no need to go to church. I'll hear things like, well, I didn't get anything out of it. Maybe the preacher wasn't as dynamic as I would hope he could be. The music didn't move me. It was either too much on the more traditional side or on the other side of that coin. It was too modern for me, whatever the case may be. Now, let me just say this with love. Is it the preaching that affects the type of attitude you have about this? I would say it's a factor, but I wouldn't call it the factor. When it comes to music, is it the type or style of music that's being played at church that should have a factor in your attitude? Again, it's a factor, but I wouldn't call it the factor. So what is the factor in the matter of your expression of joy towards the Lord, or maybe being a part of the local church? We see here that when the Ark of the Covenant was brought here, David was the newly appointed king, and he had established a new capital here in Jerusalem. And the Ark of the Covenant in the Old Testament was the item God used for his presence to be amongst the people. And when the Ark was brought here to Jerusalem, David was excited, so much so that it said that he danced nearly naked in the streets to express how overjoyed he was that God's presence was going to be there with them. So what can we get out of this? Well, David wasn't pinning his response to the Lord based upon the elements around him. In fact, we see right here, God's presence was good enough for him. And that's why he danced. That's why these verses said he was overjoyed, because his joy came from the Lord and nothing else. So if you're one of those that are just kind of like, I wish my church could be a little bit more lively, or whatever the case may be, maybe it's depending upon you. Maybe it's something as simple as your smile that could make the difference with everyone else around you. Your joy doesn't come from the preacher, doesn't come from the music. It comes from the Lord. Hey, love y'all, and we'll see y'all soon.